What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square Chasing Cinema.
Mr. James Hsu!
I'm back, baby!
You are back and better than ever. How was seeing Avengers across the country?
Dude, I know we'll talk about this later,
Yeah.
and I'll end it quick.
Yeah.
My theater, though, was full of 400 people that were like nerdum.
Yeah.
It was the greatest theater.
That sounds pretty awesome. We had a theater of 400 nerdums that were also all of our friends, and
Awesome.
it was awesome.
And that's
It was the
better.
worst. Yeah, it was a blast. But I'm glad you enjoyed. We're glad you're back, and we are here now post Endgame. You know, the interesting
This
time.
is the first
This will be
official week
interesting.
of summer.
Of the summer season. This is the first week post Endgame. Like, how will movies fare when a movie can make $1.4 billion in a weekend? You know, literally a quarter of the Star Wars franchise was worth in a weekend. Long Shot, a rom-com starring Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. It premiered, not premiered, but it was shown at CinemaCon. Got a hugely positive response. I believe they screened it multiple times for critics. I didn't see those screenings, but I wanted to see it with us and go enjoy ourselves. And now we have Long Shot with Charlize Theron, who you love, and Seth Rogen, who
She's a beautiful woman.
we both like Seth Rogen. I'm not
It's
like
funny.
you know, yeah. I mean, there's been Seth Rogen movies that I have not clicked with. You know, the filmmaker we're going into just recently gave us Snatched, which was rough for everyone involved with Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn. But hopefully, you know, we'll see. He also worked with Seth Rogen and what was that Christmas movie? The Night Before, the Night of, or something along those lines, which was okay with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The Night Before. The Night Before it was called, right? Night Before Christmas. Now we have the Long Shot political comedy. What do you think?
Did I tell you I've been watching Madam Secretary on Netflix?
No, you didn't.
So I finished all.
How connected?
Yeah, I finished all 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And I just love it. You know,
Okay.
because I love Taylor Leone. You know?
Yeah.
So then when I saw this trailer and she's all Secretary of State, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the movie looked fun to me.
Yeah, and Shu loves love.
I love it.
Loves rom-com.
But I gotta be honest with you when it comes to this movie. You can't miss this movie. You can't miss this. This movie is so good.
Yeah.
What a great way. You have Endgame that was just like obliterated us and made us cry and everything. And then you have this movie that you just feel good.
It was almost like they knew exactly what audiences would want after the week of action and crying. They'd want laughing and love.
They want a long shot.
And you know what? I totally agree. I thought it was funny and charming and just a really great rom-com.
O'Shea Jackson.
O'Shea Jackson. Who would have saw him coming? I mean, obviously, you know, really popping on screen with Straight Outta Compton.
Den of Thieves.
You know, I mean, incredible. Den of Thieves. You know, but in this movie, he comes full, like guns blazing. Easily one of the funniest parts of the movie is just anytime he's on.
When he's in it, it's just like awesome.
Really different for the Seth Rogen comedy. You know, obviously Seth Rogen is branded as the stereotype
comedy.
the stoner comedy, which has boomed in the last 10
Big
years. Some have been really great, some have not been. This movie feels quite different. Another thing we know about Seth Rogen is he doesn't mind controversy. Obviously, we had the Interview a few years back.
That's
and
right.
They didn't care about
That's
that,
right.
so why not go after the politics of our own country? And obviously, Seth Rogen has been someone who's vocally spoke in front of Congress about things such as Alzheimer's and really important things in his life. So Seth Rogen is obviously a very, you know, politically involved star, and obviously what do you do when you are tackling American politics? As a comedy, you make a rom-com about it. And I was just super surprised in just how charming this movie was, how smart it was, how filled with messages it was. There's a lot of layers to it. I think I really appreciated. You know, I think there is this kind of obvious tongue-in-cheek, which we were talking about. You know, the cocky television president. You know, we have.
And
the
you're right. It is
running.
post-Trump because
It feels-
the beginning. It opens with Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
I just remember
that. Yeah.
And that was when she was a girl, though. A little girl.
Oh, yeah,
Charlize
the younger,
Theron.
yeah, which she's
So
kind of watching.
It was definitely post-Trump.
Post-Trump, yeah. What kind of what would happen to American politics in the next, you know, well, even though,
20
actually
years.
it's 2020 though she's running, so it's really
Oh,
not.
yeah.
So maybe she just
Oh, but
was
that
like,
little girl was. But Michelle was just. 40.
maybe I don't remember
Okay, well,
exactly.
see, the
But
timeline's
anyway,
off anyway.
Anyway.
But yeah,
so
you're right.
I
It was
guess
2020.
there's obviously the
But
connection.
it opened
there.
with Michelle Obama. Remember?
I remember the picture, but I
very
don't remember.
beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. The movie's great.
Yeah,
O'Shea
the
Jackson's
movie is
great.
great. It's very funny. I think it talks, not only does it kind of really talk about the idea, like mainstream media, particularly Hollywood media, really does lean very left. Obviously, this movie takes Seth Rogen's perspective, who is very much leaning left here. And, we're not here to really talk politics and get into the dirt and stuff.
Wouldn't even know how to.
But it is interesting for, a Hollywood movie to kind of address this idea that, like, hey, why don't we just have a conversation and maybe just have different opinions about things? And I think that's a very refreshing take on things. I mean, there's these major points that, with Time's Up and all of these things, there are a lot of politics right now in Hollywood. It is the hot thing. And it's, and while we've seen it implemented in movies like The Purge, the Trump-Hillary, whole camp, the running of the two presidents, and now we have it here, we've seen it reiterated, but it's rare that we kind of get to see these characters toned down, right? We've always seen these, like, bigger-than-life politicians, but this movie kind of gives us an idea that, like, these people that we see on TV that, might seem like robotic or live their lives by a schedule every 5 minutes, are just regular people who just want to do the same things we do at the end of the day. And it's very easy to forget that, with things like, political people being, having water thrown at them at restaurants. We all forget that at the end of the day, all of us just want to love somebody and enjoy and laugh and everything like that. And, of course, there are going to be it's tough to talk about because, of course, there are people who are going to tell me that I'm undermining, political things and things like that. But at the end of the day, we're all just humans, and there are some basic things that we love. We like to laugh, we like to love. And I think this movie explores that. I think it's an interesting way to go about it. And then we find out that our main character, Seth Rogen, finds out that someone in his life that he deeply cares about is on the other side of the political spectrum. And he learns that, sometimes there's compromise, and sometimes we all just have different beliefs of things. And that's okay, too. We don't have to completely shut people out who feel differently than us. It's all about talking and communicating and having the conversation. And I think this movie creates that really, really well. You take a controversial left, journalism writer, the kind of the idea of the rebel who is sticking it to the man, and then you take the man and make them fall in love, and it's a really cool way to go about it. There is the classics like Seth Rogen scenes that you get in all of his great movies, the drug sequences.
Kind of some drug.
And there's some funny, really, really funny stuff here. But Charlize Theron kind of comes out of nowhere with just this really strong. Of course she's always charming, but just how well she flows with Seth Rogen is kind of shocking. And they are this really charming, charismatic couple. And most of the early reviews have said that they just work together so well. And seeing the trailer, I didn't really connect, but as soon as they meet on screen, they were. Not that I disliked the trailer, but I didn't see the chemistry as much as you could just see it. Yeah. As soon as they share it, as soon as they're on screen together, you immediately connect to it.
Boys to Men?
Yeah, and then this movie is filled with just a lot of, like, there are sometimes.
I hope, just so you guys know, I hope that Game of Thrones spoiler was fake. And that doesn't, I don't know, and don't tell me if you know. But I didn't, I was like, oh my God, please don't tell me I just found that out.
Well, they're actually, and not even talking about that, we won't even comment on that one, but there are a few spoilers in the movie because we talk about a bunch of pop culture references and stuff like that. But that's what's kind of fun,
Three
too.
Marvel Cinematic Universe
there's
references.
Marvel talk, there's current, a lot of updated stuff. And that was one other thing we were talking about. This movie feels very modern. I think that's what's really cool about it, is this movie feels like it is trying to address today. It's not making itself a movie that could be put in any time. It is trying to obviously make a statement about today and how we are all kind of at ends with each other with politics, and it's really just shutting us off to our, the idea that we're all just humans. And I think this movie really shines that through. Bob, you have Better Call Saul's up, Bob Odenkirk as the president here. You have Andy Serkis as the kind of overbearing, crazy, not as far as Alex Jones, but the
it's
crazy political
after
bad
you told
guy.
me that's like what Tom Cruise did in
Tropic Thunder.
Yes. Yes.
So Andy Serkis is caked on in makeup in this movie, playing kind of the big corporate villain.
Bad guy, yeah.
The big corporate villain who is, of course, involved in all the politics. And it's just funny because it took me a second to realize that it was someone caked in makeup, but as soon as I did, it was fun. Obviously, Charlize Theron, Seth Rogen, O'Shea Jackson, everyone brought it here, and I think there's great comedy and a great diversity of what you're watching too. There's the standard rom-com stuff, there's the Seth Rogen drug stuff, there's some pretty interesting political commentary, which we don't really see in comedies as much as in the mainstream, at least, that we'd like to.
And there's Charlize Theron looking just beautiful.
Absolutely stunning.
There's some scenes.
That was one of my favorite things about the movie. Throughout the film, we would constantly, of course, go to news coverage because this is about a political race, and the coverage of the coverage is really just funny and very silly, and there's a lot of great jokes. And you could tell all of these comedians wanted to kind of make this movie and poke fun at politics, and it's a good time. And all while being a really good rom-com, all while being a really good and charming romance movie.
You won't be
disappointed.
No,
it's a really good time. I'm not mad. I mean, following Endgame, you had to come strong, and this movie came strong. I'm happy with it.
I was looking at the movie schedule.
Yeah.
I think literally every week until mid-August.
We're going.
Yeah. What's next week?
Off the top of my head, I want to say next week is going to be
Pokemon.
Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah, Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, which I didn't. It's a video game. Yes. I didn't know that was a video game, but I was like, oh, that's cool. Like they're really doing something new for Pikachu.
And it's getting really good ratings.
Really good reviews.
Yeah, reviews.
It's calling it the best video game ever. And I will say, like, even I, not being a big Pokemon fan and probably being one of the few people who can't name all the Pokemon that you see, really intrigued by the world of Detective Pikachu. Then we're going into Aladdin. We have The Hustle coming up. So
I'm pumped.
Next week we have Detective Pikachu, and then we have The Hustle, the comedy starring Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. And then, of course, the week after we have John Wick Chapter 3, which we saw the trailer for. So we have a ton of stuff. Aladdin is down the pipeline.
A whole new world, baby.
It is going to be crazy. We want to make sure you join us here every Thursday at AMC Town Square for our 10 o'clock private premiere screenings with all of our friends, because it's a good time. We had a great laugh. Everyone was talking about Endgame before the movie. We all got to enjoy this movie and talk about this one. It's just a great time to be around good people.
Love it all. Y'all want to roll? Let us know. Chasing known as
the Film Lovers website.